Stone walls, including dry stone walls, stacked stone and random rubble walls, have been around for hundreds of years. And today we're looking at a technique which is basically dry stone wall but using a clay mortar. And this is a technique that's also been around for hundreds of years. They make a great feature in the garden and can be used as low retaining walls. The wall that we're looking at being built today is a dry stone wall with some clay from the site used in the joins, and this is a traditional method of construction. This is a low retaining wall and the stone is from the site, so it's making do with available materials. The wall that you're looking at now has been in place for over 10 years, and this type of wall can last for hundreds of years if it's properly constructed. So let's take a look at how to build a stone wall. It starts with site excavation, taking the topsoil away until you get to the subsoil, which contains good amounts of clay. The materials that we're using are stone, clay and screenings to fill in behind the wall. The screening improves drainage as well as stability. The wall is battered back at around 9 degrees. The amount of batter could be as much as 15 degrees on a taller wall. A line of flexible conduit is used as a guide for the base, while a string line is used as a guide for the top. The base layer needs to be strong, and the working principle is big stones surrounded by smaller stones. Rocks are spread out and sometimes put into sizes to make selection easier. The irregular shaped rocks are used behind the wall for extra stability. The face of the rock that you choose is important, in this case being flat. Choosing stones that are the right size and shape is essential. It's also important where you place the stones when you're putting one on top of the other. And here we'll get Ross to explain a little about the processes and techniques used, and talks about stretcher bond.
The next rock we would lay would go over that gap. Now that's called a stretcher bond. So that's your perk. And you go on like that. The same principle applies with a rock wall. You'll notice there's no line, consistent perpendicular line at all. They're all broken. You've always got a rock. There's a perp there. Yep. Perp here. They're always sort of conscious to that. Got a bit of a line there. Doesn't matter. Too small. Broken here. So these two, you break it there. Yep. And you've got to be consistent with that. If you don't, it looks raw. And it is raw. It's a weak spot. They always have the stretcher bond.
On freestanding dry stone walls, they have what they call through stones, stones that go from one side right through to the other, so from the face of the wall back into the excavation behind. The same principle is used here on the retaining wall, a long rock that goes right through the wall into the excavation. How many and how far depends on the height of the wall. This is an example of a through stone.
Yeah.
And that would go back
into the wall, depending on the size of the rock.
half a metre or so?
At least half a metre. All the ones that are poking out, this one here, I mean, it looks small, it's actually big. So the bulk of the rock is back into the wall.
Okay.
And that gives it strength and stability, because this is reasonably high.
Yep. And you've also used the terracotta as just a bit of a feature?
Old broken pot. Anything masonry I've thrown in. There's bits of concrete. This is an old slab of concrete which actually goes back again.
So
tiles, old tiles.
So you can really use your imagination.
You can. Old handmade bricks.
To get what you want. And then if we put it in the full picture, we've got layers and layers, and it works really well.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just looking for one that'll go in here now. Could be something like that, but then I need some smalls in here to pack it out. But what I also try and do, whatever rock I put in, I want it to sort of reflect that angle. I don't want it sort of going off on a weird angle. So you're always trying to get something that looks like it belongs.
Yeah.
And takes up the space. See, I can do that. That works all right. I've covered that perpendicular there. I'm sitting over the top of that one, so I'm looking for one little poke in there. Yeah, so I pretty much set that up there. It's going to be a bit like that. I get my clay, which I've prepared earlier. And I think it was like that. Pretty good. Now look at this. And then I'll make sure the rock is well supported at the back. Get the rock, poke it in, so it's not going to collapse.
As you go, the crushed rock and filler stones are placed behind the wall and firmed in for more support.
Then when all that's dry, I get a wire brush and clean it all up.
I guess the mud gives you a bit of room to move too.
A little bit, but not a lot. I want rock touching rock, and I want the rock supported with the stone.
Yep.
So it's not going to twist at all. So we've got the height.
So that's just taking out the first lot of excess.
Yeah. Adjust it. And then at the back, we've got some stones, crushed rock. So it's well supported. And we'll get some more rock. Ordinary rock that you can't use anywhere else. Put that behind.
Yeah, effectively that's correct. So what happens is the PJ tool, which is not the profit organisation, it remains that there's a new for-profit arm that the PIS is a very key player, the main player in I. You don't have to apologise to be a member of the PJ tool.
And after that clay's dried, just lost all its moisture because it's wetter now than it'll ever be.
Yeah.
You get a wire brush and just clean the face.
As the moisture can get through the rock,
Yeah, through the soil.
then you haven't got that pressure of water built, the hydrostatic
No.
pressure building up behind the wall.
No. The
So-
wall can breathe.
And quite often the wall will actually be cool and moist, I guess.
Yeah. Hence all the moss and what have you. But a concrete and cement mortared wall will lock in moisture behind it.
Which means you've got to have,
Weep holes and a drainage system behind the wall.
otherwise the pressure builds up
Yeah.
and
And all cement will crack.
eventually.
Will crack eventually. Cement just cracks, yeah. But it locks in moisture. That's why there's all these troubles and all the conservation jobs in the UK, where in the 60s and 70s they started, doing a cement mortar on their buildings.
Yep.
And that's locked in the moisture, created all these damp issues because the walls can't breathe.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel for regular updates on a whole range of garden plants, landscaping ideas, and as always, good luck with your gardening.